So besides Ableton's 12 new built-in features, we also got a new live pack called Performance Pack. I had a chance to sit down with Iftach Gabay, who's the developer, who's in charge of amazing stuff like CV tools, microtuner, the amazing free Sting asset sequencer, and many other things. Iftach has an in-depth tutorial on the Performance Pack in his channel. I'll link it below. Now today we're going to check out a few tricks, including some hands-free live looping. We'll do that at the end, so stick around. But huge thanks to Ableton for sponsoring this video. Let's check it out. Okay, so the Performance Pack comes with 4 different devices. We're mostly going to focus on the Performer and the Prearranger today. Let's load up the Performer. The Performer allows you to build your own control interfaces. Let's open up the editor here. You can add knobs, faders, buttons. Each one of them, if we open up the macro editor, can be mapped to up to 8 destinations. Let's quickly map some stuff here. And now if I move this knob or this fader, everything moves. Now everything can also have its own type of curve of how it controls and even different types of ranges. Amazing stuff. Now there's a lot of things you can do with it. Let's check out a few tricks. Okay, so here's an example of one control. In this case, it's just a fader that controls different parameters in different ways. See, here we essentially get an energy switcher. Let's just listen to it and see what it does. Okay, awesome. So first of all, let's go to the drums. Here we have, let me fold the drum rack so we can see the filters. We have 2 filters, one high pass, one low pass, and they're mapped to the first 4 mapping destinations here. On the energy switcher, we have some that are mapped to the frequency and some that are mapped to the device on-off, when the devices should turn on and off. They have the same curve, but different ranges right here, which can be very useful, but similar to macros, just like we have in racks, audio effect racks and so on. I also have a track volume right here inside of the group. I have one arpeggiator that I'm turning up just a tiny bit. So for that, also we set up the different ranges. And then I have also this shifter effect that is taken down in pitch. And under the 808, we have a MIDI pitch effect that's taking up the pitch. And those will have different curves. Here's the pitch, just to set the range, the exact range on exactly what I want with the numbers. And let's see the pitch here as well. The pitch MIDI effect, I had a bit of a trouble. It has a huge range, so I changed the number, the resolution right here with the XY. So this is just a great example of how the Performer can create smart controls to control everything in your project in different ways. Let's check out the next one. Okay, next one, we mapped it to a macro in an audio effect rack. So eventually we'll just see this. But this one allows us to create a DJ filter. When we turn it up, it's a high pass filter. Turn it down, it's a low pass filter. And in between, because we can map it to anything we want, we can incorporate other things, like for example here, let me fold this. If I bring it up, also we have some reverb, and also down we have some reverb. So DJ filter. Nice. Now this one, I did use a lot of different curves to get me exactly what I need for this type of mapping. So for example, just to turn them on and off when I turn it up or down, so the high pass filters, you can see it's off when it's all the way down, it's just off. But as soon as I pass it, the middle point, it's turning on. And the low pass filter is the exact opposite. So in this case, we used mostly the curves and the ranges to again create this smart control that gives us this DJ filter functionality. And you can do this with plugins, with any combination of effects. It's just a great way of creating macro controls that are just a bit more flexible. Sweet. Let's check out the next one. Okay, next one is the idea that came from Hermute Lobby, who are in charge of beat surfing, iPad app. They now have a plugin called Beat Fader, and they've been doing this over a decade. Amazing music. I'm inspired by everything they do. And what it allows us to do is play beats using a fader. So here I have, let's check this out. Here I'm gonna go to MIDI mapping mode, and I'm just gonna map it to my crossfader on my APC40. Nice. Now if I start moving it, okay, awesome. Let's see how to set it up. I'm gonna delete this performer. Now you do need a drum rack with some sounds. I have 8, you can load more. I do have a trick here. If I double click on this snare, I'm using the sampler, and if I open up the zone, we see I have a few different snare sounds loaded up here. I'm using the new round robin feature to randomize every time I trigger this pad to give me a different snare sound. I'm doing the same for the 808. So sometimes it's just a kick, sometimes it's one note of that 808, and sometimes it's the other note. So you can add some variation with some drum rack tricks. I have a whole video, 10 drum rack tricks you should know. I'll link it above or below. Let's start the performer. I'm gonna open up the editor. And let's create a fader knob, whatever we want. Let's do a standing fader. Let's edit, put it in the middle. Open up the macro editor. And now we're gonna change it from just mapping to send out a note, a MIDI note. I need to go to the routing. And here I need to set up MIDI output to the track with the drum rack. In our case, it's called Beat Fader. So here it is. Nice. We can close this routing window. Next, we need to set the range. So right now, if I move this fader, as you can see, it triggers all the range of all the notes, all the MIDI notes. Let's set the range right here in the drum rack. If we hover our mouse over the pad, it tells us the note. On the bottom in the command line. So C1 all the way to G1. Let's do that. C1 and G1. Nice. And now if I move this pad, triggering all those notes. But maybe I also want it to be quantized. So we can use the sample and hold feature. 16th note is great. And now it's going to quantize to 16th note. And I'm just doing it with my mouse, but as you saw, you can do it with a MIDI controller or anything you want. So this is Beat Fader using the performer. Shout out to Hermute Lobby. It's their original idea, which I love and inspired from. Let's check out the next one. Okay, for this next one, I used Ableton's new MIDI effect called CC Control. CC Control allows us to send MIDI messages like pitch bend, mod wheel, aftertouch, any control change number from this device onward onto the chain. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to play pitch bend with my keyboard. So here I have just a sound for my preset pack, whatever. Let me turn it down just a tiny bit. Let's play the beat and we'll jam a tiny bit and you'll see me hit number 1 on my keyboard for some pitch bending. So I added them here in my rack. Those are being sent into this instrument rack that have drift in it, and a bunch of effects. And in the performer, I use these momentary buttons. Let's open up the macro editor. And we can see that first of all, let me focus just on the pitch up right here. First of all, I'm starting the range from 50 because 0 is all the way down in the pitch bend. I don't want that. So 50. All the way to 100. And here we have this curve that also goes down at the end, so it goes back to 0, to the middle, the pitch bend. Now the trick here is to just set the slew, which will give you a time ramp. How long will it take to finish this plot of graph according to the slew time. So 158 was good enough for me, but if I bring it to be slower, just so you'll see now the pitch bend will go much slower, higher. So the pitch down, for example, I did give it a higher slew time. Here, I think 150 is enough. Nice. So this is how to make a pitch bend with just buttons, which I love. And on the same principle, you can also do buttons for mod wheels or button for aftertouch, anything or any CC, you can map it to a button and have that react over time thanks to the slew. So that's this trick. Let's check out the next one, which is live looping. Okay, sweet. Let's check out the Prearranger, which is super awesome. Allows us to do some live looping or just recording in the arrangement view, hands-free. I'm going to put it on the main track, no longer called the master, now it's main. And that's all, you just need to have it there. You can also create track, which will kind of give you a template, but let's see how to set it up ourselves. I have one audio track here. Let's rename this, call this mic. This is listening to my microphone. I'm going to create an empty MIDI track, and let's put it on top. We have to rename this MIDI track with 2 or lowercase, and then the name of the track, so mic. Nice. Now, I'm going to create a clip. But let's bring this down. And I'm going to call this clip record, capital R, and the name of the track. Nice. Then I'm going to create another clip, and just going to call it the name of the track. And this is as many or wherever I want to play this clip. Okay, after the recording. Let's disarm this. Now if I start playing from here, it's going to start recording, start recording, start recording, start recording, start recording, start recording, start record. Okay, and so on and so forth. Nice. So let me show you a few tips when coming up with this type of prearranged live looping. Okay, we're going to finish today's video with a live looping routine. I'll play the intro and maybe some improvisation, but then as you can see here, I already have the beat prepared. I just grouped everything, but it's just like a produced beat. And even before it, I have some build-up drums, like just a snare roll and some extra chords and stuff. But the entire intro, in the build-up, we're gonna build with live looping with the Prearranger. So I already have a Prearranger loaded up on the master track. Also have the arrangement looper. We might use it. We'll see. Let me fold this. Here I have a click track just to give me a metronome. Usually this goes directly to my headphones, but we're all gonna hear it in this case. Okay, which is just a sample playing. Nice. Then I have 3 Prearranger tracks. One goes for each track. First of all, for example, just here the brass, go into the brass. This is the beautiful Valves Pro library from Contact. And I layered it with some other instruments. Nice. Then I'm having here sending to this I called it send ARP. Now the reason is because this is actually sending to an empty MIDI track just to play this arpeggiator sound. And I have the actual instrument on a separate MIDI track. You see here it's receiving MIDI from this track. Just so I can do automations or predetermined automation. So I already set up this automation on its own track. I lock the envelope so I don't change them or remove them. And the Prearranger is only recording the MIDI that is being sent to the instrument, which is very useful. I also did the same thing for the brass right here. I muted right before the beat drops. And even in this lead sound that I have here, I have the free pitch drop and I automating the pitch to drop right before the beat. And also here I'm using the expression control Max for a MIDI device to use my mod wheel to switch between 2 different instruments, just like an improvisational sound. And then I'm fading with my mod wheel and morphing it into the lead sound in the drop, when the drop comes. Just an extra kind of switch it up before the build-up and the drop. Nice. So before I play this, just want to say thank you for watching the video. There's a lot more to explore in Performance Pack. We didn't even touch on the arrangement looper and the variations. We'll do that in a separate video. But these are just some of the tricks that I came up recently. But I would say there's endless more to explore. I'll catch you next time.